Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Blog Rundown, the weekly show from Movie Burner Entertainment, where we discuss all the latest written reviews from our writing team here at MB. What is up first, John?
Up first, Stephen, is a little unknown film, I have to say, from my part.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's Triple Threat from this year, 2019, of course. This one was directed by Jesse V. Johnson, and it was written by Joey O'Brien and also Fangjin Song. So that gives you a little hint at what we have here, Stephen. It's an action film, which is combining Far Eastern sort of a culture with Western culture.
I would agree, John. It is an unknown film to me as well. But the cast is more of a who's who of the martial art world.
Yeah, Tony Jaa.
Yeah, you've got a great cast in there if that's your thing. This is a review that's coming from our very own Steve Wilkins.
Wilkins, yes.
He's gave it a B- right away there. But it's an action film, John. We were talking about action films the other day in the Movie Burner News, I think it was.
It was Edgar Wright, you know, discussing the
greatest.
Mad Max Fury Road being the greatest action film of all time.
And there was something, I said at the time was that you don't have to be the greatest actor in the world to be in an action film, and certainly in this case, these guys are hardcore martial artists as far as cinematic levels go. But I've read a few reviews on this saying that it's great action, choreography's second to none. But the story and the plot lets the film down, I'm afraid.
Yes, look, Stephen, I've got to be honest with you. I don't go into action films for the plot, for the story. I go in to see a big brooding, sometimes a small brooding figure. Stallone, only 5'9". Jason Statham, only 5'9". Sometimes they can be small, but they've got the right build and they've got the right temperament and a brooding presence. But I want to see them, I digress, regardless of their stature, who the hell they are, leading the film, becoming an action hero, bringing down these antagonistic figures, be it Munn, 2, 3, 4, or the whole group, and obviously Tom Cruise, another small action hero, only 5 foot. Well, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But focusing on them taking down an antagonistic figure with big bombastic visuals, slick choreographed action and stuff like that. I'm not really that fixated on the great stirring stories that are delving into deep psychological and physical, philosophical matters and stuff like that. I can't even say it, there you go. So I'm not too concerned about the general view on this film being the story lets the whole film down as a whole, whereas the action and the performances of the actors, the martial artists, as you did say, there's quite a gathering here. Really support this film and help it grow and maybe be better than the sum of its parts. I'm not concerned about that, but the story, I digress. Anyway, Stephen, I shall briefly summarise from straight from IMDb.
Just before you do, John, if you don't mind, one of the things that I noticed throughout all the reviews that I read about this film was that was the one thing that was most consistent, was the storyline did let the film down badly, because there's been so many mixed reviews on this, from 1 out of 10 disappointing, one that says the cast have been wasted here. That's debatable.
Well, it's doing no bad on Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually
other people are saying it's an enjoyable flick. 7 out of 10. But as I said, I've never seen such a diverse bunch of reviewers for the one film. Giving it from 1 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. But that's just everyone's opinion.
It's just film, Stephen. It's all subjective. All art is subjective. One man's trash is another man's treasure. 65% rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I did say, albeit only 26 reviews from the critics, only rated 39% from the audience side of things, 95 ratings. Slight pattern developing here. There's not a great amount of people seeing the film. No. But I'll briefly go through a couple of the reviews, obviously short little summarisations of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes before I get into that sort of a story. Somebody, and maybe we'll discuss, Stephen, if neither of us have seen it, whether you perhaps want to go and see this film based off of the summary of the story, albeit apparently it's crap and it lets the whole film down, but I digress. I'll get into this anyway. Couple of positive ones. Your scorecard will be full, which is the point. I don't quite understand that. I have to say I've read it 3 times. I still don't know what that means. Ben Kenigsberg, New York Times, that's one of the probably more prominent reviewers, and that's what he's come up with, so that's concerning. Triple Threat does not deliver on its kinetic casting promise, so that perhaps means that they've got a whole array of kinetic performers, cast members, who are always on the go, martial artists and whatnot. They're saying it doesn't deliver on the promise of that casting, again alluding to the casting being good, story being crap. While not exactly known for their dramatic capabilities, these men do know how to put up a fight, resulting in a slick, entertaining feature that works best as a showcase for their talents. Again, Stephen, you were saying a pattern, you're right, even from the critics to the audience reviewers, even with lack of an A-list star, Triple Threat finds a way to stand on its own. So I digress, I'm not going to go through too many more of that. It's not really about these guys, it's about, obviously, Steve, his take on the film and our brief little summarisation. But the story, Steve, before I let you in, a hit contract is taken out on a billionaire's daughter, intent on bringing down a major crime syndicate. A down-and-out team of mercenaries must take on a group of professional assassins and stop them before they kill their target. So it's very linear and simplistic sort of a story. Themes going on here. Say a group of guys get together and try and kill a target.
There's a kind of a mix of the Expendables in there and that film Mel Gibson won Ransom in there as well.
Most recently, Triple Frontier as well.
Triple
Frontier, of mercenaries get together, ex-army colleagues, and try and take on a target.
One of the things from Steve's review, John, he does say that this movie is pretty much fan service. So there's going to be a lot of cliche moments in there, and they're destined to be present. Going back to Expendables, that's exactly what the Expendables was designed for. It was fan service. It was people that were basically our ages, you know, that grew up with the likes of Stallone, Schwarzenegger. Stallone knew this. He knew that this would be a selling point. Let's get Lundgren in, you know, Jason Statham, Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, you know, all the names from the 80s, big names from the 80s, all in there. And it was fan service, but it worked. That was the difference. It worked because they had a good writer. I think Stallone actually wrote.
I think he did,
that, you know. So I don't know if he did all the sequels, but he had his hand in it. He wrote the characters. I think he developed the characters as well. So that was a big part of the success of that franchise.
Well, this is a guy who knows how to do action films, Stephen, how to write an action star. So you can't get anybody better involved. Sadly, he wasn't involved in this one, but Scott Adkins, who is in this film, was actually in the Expendables too. So there's a kind of a cross in there. 5 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon.
I remember him in that,
So there's a couple of interesting people in here that would maybe tickle my fancy and maybe perhaps get me watching this if it comes onto a streaming service. I actually spoke to you, Stephen, about that. I was looking at the box office performance of the film. It's only grossed £76,000, just over it, as a domestic total in the United States, that is. So I'm presuming that its distributor is Well Go USA. I'm presuming this is either on a streaming platform or it's going to end up on a streaming platform such as Netflix, Amazon Prime at some point. I don't think it will end up on Hulu. I think they go for a slightly different style of film. They go for the more, how shall I put it, matinee kind of a blue chip we used to call it over here for football signings. Those type of films, slightly higher artistic merit than an action film. But look, I haven't seen it, Stephen. I can't possibly add anything to the conversation in terms of artistic value, performances, the breakdown of cinematography, slick sort of action sequences and how that's playing off against the actual story. By all accounts, most people seem to say the story isn't great, the action and the cliche-ridden sort of sequences and also performances from the actors in general is much better. And that kind of carries a film.
Well, it's not on Netflix here in the UK, I know that for a fact.
Well, maybe in America.
I did, look it up. It's probably everywhere, bar the UK, because Netflix sucks. But it's a film, if it was on our Netflix, would you watch it, John?
Yeah, I probably would,
yeah. I probably would for just for the martial artist side of things, you know. A big martial artist.
So there's a great collection of people in there that know how to do it.
It wouldn't bother me so much about the story if that was the case, you know, but...
Funny enough, Steve, before we actually move on, the director's actually more famed for stunts. He was involved as the stunt performer in a whole host of films. Hell or High Water, Paranormal Activity, quite a few other ones in there. So that's a guy that's more
focused on that
he's more connected to the stunts and the action sequences as opposed to out-and-out storytelling and writing. But look, he wasn't the writer anyway, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. I digress. I've not got much more to...
Listen, we'll move on, John, to our next review. It came in from Justin Aylward. And it's a film we've talked about. We talked about last week. It's Us. Both of us have went to see this movie.
We have, yeah.
We've both got, I would say, probably different sort of vibrations, if you like, from that ending. But I think overall, I think both of us enjoyed it to a degree. It's not the greatest horror film out ever made, you know. This is directed by Jordan Peele, of course. Stars the likes of Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss. The film itself, John, before we get into the review, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's not as good as Get Out, but that's not fair of me saying that and comparing these two films. The only connection is obviously the director. I just
similar
didn't get
sort of things, you know, in there, the way he's trying to use allegorical themes and stuff.
I was going to say that, John. I think the experience more than anything was different for me, you know. But this film, it was what I expected it to be. When we did the trailer reaction for it, I felt it was going to be that kind of theme.
Funnily enough, the trailer had most of the jump moments, the scary moments.
Well,
in the film.
yeah. So I knew what to expect. You know, the humour. Justin actually says this. It kind of derails the film to a degree in terms of tone. You know, that the humour was a little bit obvious and stuff like that. I got that. I do agree. There was a lot. I did laugh at the bit in the driveway. I don't know if that was supposed to be intentionally.
I think
funny.
It was, yes, Stephen. I
thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, we definitely touched upon that. And the flipping of roles in this film. Obviously, the big towering figure of Winston Duke, I believe his name. I'm pretty sure it's Winston Duke.
Yeah, Winston
Duke.
Gabe,
or Gaby, or Gab. I can't recall what his character's name is. He's this big towering guy. He goes out to deal with it. He's the leader of the family, the patriarch. And obviously he realises, look, this isn't working. They're not intimidated by me by any means, so I'm just going to scurry back into the house. And then obviously the wife figure of Adelaide takes over and becomes a sort of a leading figure of the family, taking on these tethered characters, and even at one point the young daughter and also the young son as well have starring roles, more so than the actual husband. He's got a broken leg or something very early on in the film. His leg kind of renders him slightly useless to a degree. Not so much because he does play a part. He's driving speedboats up and down
he plays
that
a big part,
so I'm being a little bit harsh on him, but he's not the leading figure you'd expect. So that the humour, I definitely understand what you mean. That humour, I think it was definitely deliberate. I definitely think it was. And I can understand what Justin's actually touching upon. I haven't seen the film again, Stephen.
Yeah, there was bits in there about the Home Alone bit got me, and I don't mean it was a hilarious line or anything. I just thought, really, that we talked about Home Alone, you know. In all seriousness of the situation, you know, you're talking about Home Alone. I just felt some of it was a bit forced. I'm going to jump ahead, John, to a bit in the review, because it was a bit I just brought up in regards to the experience that I had from the ending and the experience you had from the ending. I think Justin's more in line with your experience of that ending than myself. Justin says that this twist it just added more sort of questions.
It was attached as an obligation. After Get Out, he says, and I kind of agree, Stephen. I feel like he felt like he had to fling this in to show, look, I'm so ahead of the curve here. I'm very, very clever. I'm bringing together all these allegorical themes, these deep underlying sort of a metaphorical things, visual things going on. I'm doing it, and look, I'm going to fling a twist in there and show you, look, I know what I'm doing. But I don't feel like it was necessary at all, Stephen. No. I really don't. I think he could have left it out, and it would have left a greater impact for this film going forward. I did kind of compare it to Inception, what Christopher Nolan did with that film. He left it open-ended, ambiguous. He didn't let you know one way or the other whether the Leonardo DiCaprio character had come out of his dreamscape.
Well, Nolan,
to be spinning top.
Nolan does that a lot in his films. He did it in The Dark Knight Rises as well.
Still
to this day, you know, there's still debate whether or not that ending, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but you know, that ending to The Dark Knight Rises, was it a dream or not, you know?
But it's a similar kind of filmmaker, Stephen. I feel very cerebral in his storytelling and the way he likes to introduce themes, and he does twists and stuff like that. So it's intriguing to compare the two filmmakers. And he does it a certain way. Jordan Peele seems to want to go off in a different direction, do it a different way. I'm personally on board with Christopher Nolan way of doing things, and that actually brings me on to a brief little thing I actually touched upon when I was reading this review. It was a good review, incidentally. Really enjoyed reading it. What Justin says about the Peele scales at the heights only reached by the likes of Stanley Kubrick. People comparing them to the likes of Stanley Kubrick. I'm sorry, I've already praised the man to high heavens after I seen the film for the first time on Twitter. I says he's a brilliant director, and I actually think one of the strong points in this film is his directing, because he gets some brilliant performances out of the likes of Lupita Nyong'o. In particular, she is outstanding, one of the real highlights in the film. Her dual role, and just how she breathes life into these two very different but obviously closely connected characters. That was a stunning performance, and that's down to Jordan Peele getting the performances out of the actors. But he's no Stanley Kubrick, Stephen. He is no Stanley Kubrick.
Not yet.
I mean, not yet. He could be in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
He's got a long way to go. He's only done 2 films.
Yeah, calm down.
And they have been decent films. I mean, Get Out was a fantastic film. This one was a very good film for me. I did enjoy it, probably more than Justin. But he's no Stanley Kubrick. In fact, he's not even a Christopher Nolan yet. No. Christopher Nolan has, I don't think he's put a bad film out, Steve. I mean, how many films has he done? I think he's done maybe 8 or 9 films, maybe 10. And they've all been
I wasn't even sure it was as much as that, John, but you could be right. He's been
consistently excellent, Stephen. So I think we need to wait till he's done 4 or 5 films, maybe get to a Christopher Nolan height before we start talking about the great Stanley Kubrick, because he is up there in the upper echelons of great directors in the history of Hollywood. So that's one thing I do not agree with. A good director, he's done very, very well in these first 2 films, coming from comedy and crossing that boundary into the horror sort of scopes, and the way that the genre and the way he's mixing up these strong sort of underlying themes and stuff and making a nice cerebral sort of a story. Jive, as I like to say. It's all well and good, but he's no Kubrick.
Well, Justin says that it's an underwhelming story with a few genuine thrills and a complicated palette of ideas that submit the viewer into what's that word there?
Viewer into, I'm not sure, Stephen, I don't know where you are.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down. It's just because I just get an advert that appeared on this.
For the Dogs Trust.
Yeah, the Dogs Trust. Thanks for that, Dogs Trust. So listen, I get what he's saying. I think if you're getting into a film, if you've seen Get Out, your expectations are going to be very high for the next film. I get that. But as I said earlier, what I got from the trailer, and you're right, John, I think
that dog, Stephen, that's what I want. I'm getting the same advert.
I got everything I got out the trailer, I got out the film, because most of the jump scare moments were in the trailer, and that was, I think that was a mistake doing that. But in that kind of genre, you need some kind of jump scare in your trailer to, get the fans' attention. But I thought there might have been a little bit more, and I think that's maybe why that twist at the end was thrown in. I think it was a thrown in thing. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered a lot of people. It didn't really ruin the experience of the film for me. I thought it was, I wouldn't say it was clever. I just thought, oh, okay, he's went this way.
What I will say, Stephen, I did like the scene. As an aside, I liked the way it mirrored the opening sequence.
Oh, that was good. It was well shot,
So I enjoyed that, and that's one thing you can't criticise in this film, even if you don't like the storytelling or whatever. The visuals were absolutely outstanding, Stephen. The cinematography was outstanding. The directing was outstanding. So technical aspects, really, really sublime, I felt. Story, I could take or leave the story. I understood what he was trying to do, obviously, with the American dream, sort of a class division, sort of a things, underlying themes about minority groups and stuff, how they're not getting the opportunity to perhaps thrive. In America, they're not essentially buying into the American dream. This is something we've seen way back into the 1930s, 20s, even further back with the Native Indians. Not really getting used and then discarded. So I could understand that, well, from my own personal take, what he was trying to do with the story. I quite liked the story for the most part. Thought it was not too bad. Didn't like the ending, as you do know. But I do agree, Stephen, what he says about the home invasion thing being done better in other films, even as recently as a couple of years ago. I think it was Hush. I actually really enjoyed that home invasion film. I actually think that was utilised an interesting thing with this lady. She was a mute and she couldn't hear. Oh no, she wasn't a mute, sorry, she couldn't hear, she was deaf. So that was an interesting little spanner in the works to a traditional sort of a home invasion film. And that's what you need to do with home invasion. It's been done to death. You need to do something intelligent to spice
one
it
of
up
the better ones as well, John, Funny Games. There was one that was out in the late 90s, I recall, but there was another one with Naomi Watts and Tim Roth, I think was in that. And basically it was a home invasion. It was a torture film, it was one of those ones, where these two boys invade a family home and torture them, and it's quite an excruciating film, but it's a well-directed film, it's a well-written film, and the cast are excellent as well. But as you said, it's a story that's been done to the death, to be fair. And I think Jordan Peele was trying to take that sort of story and try and put a twist on it. I don't mean the literal twist at the end. I mean the whole doppelganger thing as well.
The allegorical themes and all that as well, Stephen. I think that's what you need to do. If you want to employ the kind of a cerebral storytelling that he seems to be attracted to, like the likes of Nolan are attracted to, you have to have a superficial, linear story in there to kind of appease the superficial level of the film, and the people get in to see it. They want to appreciate a simplistic sort of a superficial story, but then you have to do a little twist to spice it up a bit and do what he does with the storytelling and stuff and the themes underneath. Didn't quite hit for Justin. Hit a little bit more for me. I enjoyed it for them.
Yep.
In the main, look, I can understand some things didn't quite pay off. It did feel a little bit muddled at times. I felt that he was getting perhaps a little bit over convoluted at times. I've seen the film twice, and just touching back, I actually forgot to mention the humour. I can completely understand what he means about the humour, maybe detracting from the scares at times and maybe the darker side of the story. Because when they go to the family friend's house, and obviously they're brutally murdered, it goes right into like jokes, fuck the police and things like that, and he's got the house coat on and he's looking all smug.
I did laugh at that, John.
I did laugh at it, Stephen, but it did detract from the eeriness of the scene. And if it didn't have those humorous aspects, it may have been a little bit more eerie, may have been a scarier film, I don't know. But look, I'm no Jordan Peele, I'm not even a filmmaker, I'm not going to sit here and criticise a guy's filmmaking. I've never made a film in my life, so who am I to sit in my throne and crash judgment at people who are doing a fantastic job in these films, Stephen?
You're a film reviewer, John. So.
Yeah, I'm a film reviewer, so I can. So I'm kind of talking crap.
You can sit in your throne. So.
Yeah, and I agree what he means. It says as well about the... I think it's Carol Jung, the Jungian themes. Yeah. Just tacking them on as maybe a side thing, but that's what he likes to do. He likes to do cerebral storytelling with underlying themes, so I'm not going to criticise the guy.
Fair enough,
he's
John.
one of the better ones at doing it.
That just brings us to the end of this week's blog rundown. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back again tomorrow with the Force Friday show.